Hello friends and greetings for the day. Welcome back to another tutorial on ISTQB Agile Tester sample paper discussions. We are in chapter 3 talking about agile testing methods, techniques and tools. And so far we have covered few of the questions from this chapter, and today we shall be covering some more in this particular tutorial as well. So the next question what we have for you is question number 29 and a little lengthy. So we're just taking two questions in this tutorial because both are a lot of content in that question, so we want to spend good time giving you the proper explanation. So question number 29, given the following user story, it says, as a bank teller, I can easily navigate through the system menu and links and find the information I'm looking for. So number one thing that this guy is giving a user story in the right format. Now it has the user portfolio, what exactly the person wants to do, so that the expected result is also mentioned. And rest another story is also there, which says for all users, the system must display all queries in less than 2 seconds 90% of the time, right? So 90% of the time, the expectation from the system is that it is as fast as 2 seconds, and this is applicable to any type of user, not specific to the bank teller. So, and the associated test cases are also provided to you here. We have written three test cases so far for this. TC1, login as a bank teller, enter customer ID, verify the customer transaction history is easy to find, and that navigating through the menus is intuitive, right? So one test case is talking about navigating through the menu and links, which is the first user story, and the information what he is looking for. So it first gives you the test case to check whether the information is intuitive, the menu is intuitive, and then you have the transaction history easy to find. Now test case 2 is written for the bank teller again, and this time it is to enter the customer name, verify the customer accounts are easy to find, and that navigating through the menu is intuitive again. So two searches we made, one by customer ID and second by customer name, giving the convenience to the bank teller because he requested system and menu links to be easy to identify the customer details. Test case 3 is written for simulate expected traffic on the system and validate the time for the customer transaction history to display is less than 2 seconds, right? Because system must display all queries in which one of that is the customer transaction history. And this is for all the user, so of course the customer can also go and do that. Which test quadrant would the above test cases be part of? Right now, that's the tricky part of it, given that you have understood the 4 quadrants, that what does quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, quadrant 4 does. So I think it has to be very, very precise that what is business facing, what is technology facing, which one is manual and which one is automation, what is the objective of that. So if you look into these like unit, system, and then you have acceptance and validation test. So we just have to correlate. Options here, the option A says Q1 unit level, which is technology facing, and second Q2 system level business facing, whereas B says Q2 system level business facing and Q3 system or user acceptance level business facing. So that means they're just giving you the two different items which are addressing the different quadrants, which talks about what exactly is the ask at this point of time, that what goes the right as the right answer. So test cases are supposed to be utilized here, like test case 1, test case 2, test case 3 to get to the judgment. Now of course the test cases are not unit test cases or not component test. So Q1 is not the quadrant at all, because from the definition you can understand that's not talking about a particular component, it's talking about a transaction being performed. So it's not at all unit testing, so you can just skip the option A. Now all we have to deal with is B, C, D. Right, so start eliminating the options which you don't really have to consider. So we have option B, Q2 system level business facing, and Q3 system or user acceptance business facing. That means, will these 3 test cases fall under these 2 categories? So number 1, I think the usability tests are basically a part of the 3rd, and performance are the part of quadrant 4. So I think one way we just told you the answer. So Q2 is system test level, so it does not go into that, and Q3 would be something more relevant here, and Q4 will be the performance test scenarios, which are, the additional non-functional levels will be conducted in the quadrant 4. So of course the relevancy is going to the Q3 and Q4, and in that context the right answer here is C. The 3 given test cases fall under Q3 and Q4, where Q3 system or user acceptance level, business facing, and the Q4, which is for the customer, that is system or operational acceptance level, technology facing. Let's move on to the next question we have for the day. Is question number 30. At the beginning of the 5th iteration of a project, a new requirement was introduced to support a new type of browser. The tester realizes that the existing test automation framework and script will not support the new type of browser. Now, there are two things here, right? Number one, that we are doing the 5th iteration of the project, right? And then we say a new requirement has been introduced to support a new type of browser for the application. The tester realizes that the existing automation frameworks will not work on this particular browser. Now the question is, what is the best course of action for the tester on this team to take? That means at this point of time, given that the automation framework which is already written will not be executable on this new browser. So what should a tester do next at this point of time, right? So we have 4 options given to you, and this is completely scenario based, so we don't have any predefined answer to this. This is completely driven by the options provided to you and the question what been asked to you. So option A says the tester should notify the team that they are planning on working extra hours throughout the next 2 sprints in order to update the existing automation test framework and script to support the new type of browser so as not to disturb the existing sprint plan. Fantastic idea. It certainly makes a lot of sense when it comes to the real-time execution of day-to-day work, but modifying the test automation framework and script to support a new type of browser may not be worth the effort if the risk is low that new defects will be found, right? Why would I even do that, given that there are some specific context, there are some specific findings, or it's adding more value? I would look forward to hamper or edit or spend my time doing this job, right? So in that case, a risk analysis should be done prior to this to understand that whether the whole team and a collaboration should be done in order to decide the risk analysis on this, to decide whether we should go ahead and do the modification to the framework, or is it not worth doing that, right? So always understand that whenever you have a new request and it takes a significant effort of your time, or if you're sprint, then it is very, very important to first understand, analyze by default, than taking the direct action. Okay. Option A is telling you that we will blindly go and take the action with a very, very, professional definition given to you. But it's not necessary that you blindly go and tell the team that, yeah, we will work extra hours to do this. Why would you do that unless you know it is recommended or it is really important to do it or not? Remember, team, whenever a new thing comes to your scenarios or new situations in the real time as well, it is always important to analyze, understand the worth of doing that activity, because you're in Agile. Okay? You just don't have enough time to spend unnecessarily. So if you think it is worth doing this activity, then you can tell me what's the plan for it. So in this case, they are directly saying that what we should do in order to implement or change the framework. No planning, no decision, no analysis. B, the tester will notify the team of the issue. A risk analysis is done, and the team decides that regression testing must be performed on the new type of browser in addition to the other supported browsers. The tester will update the sprint plan by adding tasks to modify the framework and script to support the new type of browser. Fantastic plan. Okay, this looks more relevant because first the tester will notify the team that everyone be aware we are coming up with a new expectation of additional work. Second, they would conduct the regression testing to find out on the new browser in addition to the regular browser. That is the objective. The team should decide, should we include the new browser into our regression test suite? Because you already have a framework, right? So this framework is addressing your regressions, probably. So this regressions should include the new browser is what you have to let the team know. Then You must conduct a risk analysis, which would talk about the addressing of any kind of risk associated with doing this or not. Because if just adding this new framework addition would hamper the whole framework, then it does not make any sense at all, right? Then the tester will update the sprint plan by adding a task, which is most important thing. Whenever you take up a new responsibility, you must have a card on the board to reflect it, right? So you should put a card on the board and then start working on the framework modifications to support the new browser type, which makes totally sense. But still cross-check with option C and option D. Option C says the tester does some research and concludes that the risk is low that any new defect would be introduced in the new type of browser that have not already been found in the other supported browser. The tester continues with the existing sprint plan and makes no changes to test automation framework or script. So that's another alternative. See, if I'm explaining you, it may seem like why this option is right, why this option is incorrect. When you are all alone, we want you to understand the logic of solving a question. We don't want you to stick to our words. We want you to stick to our logical understanding of making a decision. Option C is, again, somewhere good. You may feel that this is also right. But why it is wrong, let me tell you. The tester is not the single person to make a conclusion alone, right? Though it is talking about automation framework, but putting an effort and, at least declaring that I'm not going to work on it, it's not recommended, it's not necessary, is not one person job. You should always involve the collaboration of the team to make a decision about the team, right? It's not a solo performance, it's an agile team, and it's always about whole team approach. So the tester must notify the team, who will then together decide what to do with the issue, right? It's not one person responsibility. Just because you think about it as automation test framework, I don't need developer or designer, which is real time, but as per the protocols, it is incorrect. You need the whole team to decide that, right? So C is incorrect. D, the tester will stop that they are doing. Okay, whatever they are doing, they will just stop it and design specific test for compatibility testing of the new type of browser and communicate with the team that any other testing work for the sprint will have to be pushed to the next iteration. Come on, you never learned that, right? You never learned in the entire syllabus that we should, disturb our regular sprint, which is ongoing. Even when the changes are introduced by the customer or business, we accept the change, but we take it as highest priority item in the backlog for the next sprint. We never disturb something which is already ongoing, okay? To just accommodate no matter how priority that item is. So if it is not up to the tester alone, again in this option, if you see the words to determine scope of work, the issue will be addressed by creating a new story or modifying an existing user story and will be addressed by the entire team during the next sprint planning, right? So it's not that like you just stop and disturb your regular sprints and accommodate something, and you always never take a decision alone. You always have to involve the whole team to do this decisioning, right? So put together, the right answer here is B, the tester will notify the team of the issue. The risk analysis is done and the team decides the regression testing must be performed on the new type of browser in addition to the other supported browser. The tester will update the sprint plan by adding a task to modify the framework and then scripts to support the new type of browser, right? So that's what we wanted to convey you through this particular simple scenario. So just two questions because lengthy, so we just wanted to cover two of them. We'll cover the remaining in our upcoming tutorials. So that's all from this particular tutorial team. Should you have anything else, feel free to comment below. We are always there to address your queries and answer them well. Till then, keep learning, keep exploring, keep understanding the context. Thanks for watching the video team and happy learning.